Start again for the third time. Is it going? Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Walhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Wassalatu wassalamu ala Rasulillahi wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in wa ba'd. We're on chapter number 103. قال الإمام البخاري رحمه الله تعالى باب إذا نصح العبد لسيده. So this is a chapter if إذا نصح means what? To advise. You can advise through words or you can advise through actions. Alright, so by doing righteous actions, you're advising other people to also do those righteous actions. Following the sunnah, you advise other people to follow the sunnah. Alright, through your actions and also through your words. So إذا نصح العبد. So if the slave advises لسيده, the person who, I guess you could say, people don't like to use these words anymore nowadays, but a sayyid is like the master, because the sayyid is used for anybody who is used. If it's used for a tribe, it's what you say, sayyid al-qabila or sayyid al-hayy is the person that all the affairs, like everybody goes back to him. He's the one that like all the judgments and every, like he's the head honcho in the tribe. All right, so that's the sayyid. So sayyid is always the person who's put over the affairs of the people. And that's why when they went to the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam and said, Ya Sayyidina, he said, Ya Sayyid Allah. Because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is over all the affairs of the people. He's over all the affairs of the people.
The hadith in here, right?
Huh?
Hadith in here, right?
Probably.
I took a picture of it. Hadith. And it was in this book.
Yeah, more than likely. Alright. So حدثنا إسماعيل. This is hadith number 202. حدثنا إسماعيل قال حدثني مالك عن نافع عن عبد الله ibn Umar رضي الله عنهما. And this is one of the strongest narrations in the science of hadith. According to Imam al-Bukhari rahimahullah, this is the strongest narration. Alright, so Malik and Nafi and Ibn Umar, according to Imam al-Bukhari, they differed. And if you go back to Alfiyat al-Iraqi, he gives the ikhtilaf at the beginning of his Alfiyat. So you can read through that in Fath al-Maghith and go over that. But as far as Bukhari, like his opinion, that's the strongest narration. Strongest chain of narration. Alright. أن رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم قال إن العبد إذا نصح لسيده وأحسن عبادة ربه فله أجره مرتين. So here, Abdullah ibn Umar, he reported that the Messenger of Allah صلى الله عليه وسلم said, إن العبد إذا نصح لسيده. نصح لسيده, it means what? That he carries out all the things that he's supposed to do. As a servant, like he does everything that he's supposed to do. There's no buts and gripes and bucking, and that he does what he's supposed to do. What he's put in charge of, he carries out. That's why he said, إِذَا نَصَحَ لِسَيِّدِهِ. Alright, so this is through his actions. He does what he's supposed to do. وَأَحْسَنَ عِبَادَةَ رَبِّهِ. And he perfects the worship of his Lord. فَلَهُ أَجْرُهُ مَرَّتَيْنِ. Then he'll get his reward 2 times. 2 times for carrying out his duties, and the second time, his dunyawi duties and his responsibilities in the dunya, he gets a reward, and he gets the reward for the worship of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and perfecting that worship. So this hadith is in Bukhari and Muslim. This is muttafaqun alayh. All of these ahadith are all, either muttafaqun alayh or in Bukhari or Muslim. So, or no, actually, the first 2 hadiths are going to be muttafaqun alayh. The third hadith is in Bukhari, and the last hadith, I don't know, let me see, 205, yes, Bukhari. Alright, so hadith number 203. حدثنا محمد بن سلام قال أخبرنا المحاربي قال حدثنا الصالح ابن وحي قال رجل لعامر الشعبي يا أبا عامر إنا نتحدث عندنا أن الرجل إذا أعتق. Here in the book, in the book that we have, it says إذا أعتق ولده. This is a mistake. The hadith is not ولده. The correct wording, you have a pen. Take one of these. Take your pen. القلم هكذا. correct word إذا عاتق أمته. أمته. It's not ولده. إذا عاتق أمته. That is the correct wording in Bukhari and Muslim. So he said, إِنَّا نَتَحَدَّثُ عِنْدَنَا أَنَ الرَّجُلَ إِذَا عَاتَقَ أَمَتَهُ ثُمَّ تَزَوَّجَهَا كَانَ كَرَاكِبِ بَدَنَهُ. So this is a man, he came to a Sha'bi, and he said, Ya Aba Amr. He called him by his kunya because that's a sign of ihtiram. He did not go up to a Sha'bi and say, Ya Sheikh, Ya Sheikh, Ya Ustad. He called him by his kunya, Ya Aba Amr. Because this is the way that you show respect for the people, especially whether the person is older than you, or the person is more knowledgeable than you, or whatever the case may be, or higher status than you. You call him by his kunya. إِنَّا نَتَحَدَّثُ عِنْدَنَا. He said that we speak amongst us that a rajul, a man, إِذَا عَاتَقَ أَمَتَهُ, if he freed his female servant, like he freed her, ثُمَّ تَزَوَّجَهَا, and then he married her, كَانَ كَرَاكَبِ بَدَنَتَهُ. It's like a man who rides his camel that he's prepared for slaughter. Like the camel that you take and you're going to slaughter in Hajj. He said it's like the person rides it. Because in Jahiliyyah this was considered a aib. Considered arun ala rajulan ya'mala mithla hada. This is his badana, he doesn't ride it. Alright, and we know obviously the hadith where the Prophet ﷺ told the man to ride the badana, because and this is a hadith is a Sahih Muslim, to go against the people of what? A Jahiliyyah. Because when he told him, he said, Iraqabha, faqala ya Rasulullah innaha badana. Faqala iraqabha, and he told him to get on it and ride it. And this is to do mukhalafa of the people of Jahiliyyah, because they used to, do ta'zeem of these animals to the point that they would not, because these were prepared for sacrifice, but prepared for sacrifice for what? Yeah, for their gods, right? So they wouldn't ride. And out of respect for this animal, they wouldn't ride on it. They would leave it. So this is why he said, إِذَا عَاتَقَ أَمَتَهُ ثُمَّ تَزَوَّجَهَا كَانَ كَرَاكِبِ الْبَدَنَ. And he's like the person who rode on his badana. Is like considered a huge ayib to marry a girl that he freed, right? فَقَالَ عَامِرٌ حدثني أبو بردة عن أبيه قال لهم, and it should be فقال أبو عامر. No, عامر. Yeah, عامر الشعبي. I was thinking about his kunya, Abu Amr. حدثني أبو بردة عن أبيه قال لهم رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم. So after the man made the statement, the Sha'bi is going to show him that what? That he's going to give him the statement of the Prophet ﷺ, because he said this is what we used to say in Jahiliyyah, but now he's going to show him that what? That the Prophet ﷺ said the opposite of what he assumes from Jahiliyyah, right? So he said, قال لهم رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم ثلاثة لهم أجران. He said 3 people, the Messenger of Allah صلى الله عليه وسلم said 3 people, they will have 2 rewards. رجل من أهل الكتاب آمن بنبيه وآمن بمحمد صلى الله عليه وسلم فله أجران. So a person from the people of the book, from the Jews and the Christians, he believed in his prophet, and then he believed in Muhammad صلى الله عليه وسلم. So he was, he's on their religion until the message came to him about Prophet Muhammad صلى الله عليه وسلم, and then he accepted the message and he followed him. So he gets two rewards: the reward for following his prophet, and then the reward for following the Prophet Muhammad صلى الله عليه وسلم. He said, وَالْعَبْدُ الْمَمْلُوكِ إِذَا أَدَّى حَقَّ اللَّهِ وَحَقَّ مَوَالِيهِ. All right, and then he said, and a slave that is, a possessed slave that fulfills all of the rights of Allah, so that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has over him, and then he fulfills the rights of the people that he's responsible for. وَرَجُلٌ كَانَتْ عِنْدَهُ أَمَةٌ يَطَعُهَا. And a man that has a female slave that he was having relations with, that he had relations with, because if it's his possession, it's considered like his wife. He's allowed to go to her, she can give birth, and it's his lineage, it's not committing fornication. Alright, but again, this goes back to the women that are taken in war that were given by the Wali al-Amr. Now, like what people people do today. They go into war and they just snatch girls out of a village and say she's my right hand possession. That's committing fornication. In fact, that's raping a woman. So that's not permissible. It has to be given to the person as a part of the ghanima and distributed from the wali al-amr. فَأَدَّبَهَا, and he disciplined her. And he taught her, he disciplined her, so he discipline her. All right. فَأَحْسَنَ تَعْدِيبَهَا, and he perfected the disciplining of her. So he taught her, and basically in a way of refining her character and teaching her, the best way to be. So he did this. He paid this attention to the ta'aleem of this girl. وَعَلَّمَهَا, and then he taught her. فَأَحْسَنَ تَعْلِيمَهَا, and then he perfected and he did his best with her education and tried to teach her the best he could. And this is why she was his possession, right? ثُمَّ عَتَقَهَا. So after he's done all this, then he frees her. فَتَزَوَّجَهَا, then he marries her. فَلَهُ أَجْرًا. He has the ajr, he has the reward for what he did before of teaching her and giving her everything that she needs as far as to be an upright person and to have knowledge of the deen. And then he freed her and then married her, so he gets a reward for that also. This hadith is also muttafaqun alayh. قال عامر أعطيناكها بغير شيء وقد كان يركب فيما دونها إلى المدينة. He said, I gave you this. He said, I gave you this with nothing. Like there's no muqabil. There's nothing. I didn't ask for anything from the dunya. I gave you this for free, right? It's hadith. And what does he mean for free? He doesn't mean like, obviously, you won't go around asking for money for hadith, but what does he mean? The people before, how did they used to get a hadith like this? They had to go travel. They might have had to travel. They might have been in Iraq, and like you said, they had to travel all the way down to Medina just to get this hadith. All right. So, and that's why he used the word Medina, because that's where a lot of the people, when the Ahl al-Hadith were in Iraq, in those areas from the Furs, in the areas from that were controlled by Faris before Islam, and the areas of Iraq and the areas of Sham, they used to have to travel down to get these ahadith. And they had to go through like months and months of travel and being away from their families and difficulties and everything just to get this hadith. But he said, I just gave it to y'all for nothing. So take it. He said, so that's what he means by أَعْطَيْنَاكَهَا بِغَيْرِ شَيْءٍ. Y'all didn't have to travel. You didn't have to do anything. You just sat here in comfort and I gave you the hadith. وَقَدْ كَانَ يَرَكَبُ فِيهَا دُونَهَا إِلَى الْمَدِينَةِ. But other people would have to travel all the way to Medina just to get that hadith from before. That shows the seriousness of the student of knowledge. And we should be thankful and grateful for the people that went before us. That they did all this work that we could just sit here in the masjid and just get, just read these ahadith and comfort. Because they went and did all the struggle and broke their backs to get all these ahadith and put them in these books. Look at Al-Imam al-Bukhari and how much travel he had to do just to put this book together. Just all these ahadith that you see in this book, how much he had to travel. So Allah musta'an. And we could just sit here and just read in comfort. There's no doubt, who's going to get the biggest reward for that one. And it's not going to be us. So 204. حدثنا محمد بن العلاء قال حدثنا أبو أسامة عن بريد ابن عبد الله عن أبي بردة عن أبي موسى رضي الله عنه قال رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم المملوك الذي يحسن عبادة ربه ويؤدي إلى سيد الذي فرض طاعة والنصيحة له أجران. This is also in Bukhari. So he said, Abu Musa radiallahu anhu, he said that the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, al-mamluk, he said the slave, yusanu ibadat rabbih, that perfects the worship of his Lord and does his best to carry out all the things that he's commanded with. وَيُؤَدِّي إِلَى سَيِّدِهِ الَّذِي فُرِضَ طَاعَةُ وَالنَّصِيحَةُ, and he carries out all of his duties to the person in control of him, from amongst obedience and nasiha. So if he sees him doing something wrong, does that mean he just stays quiet and says, oh no, it's his duty as a Muslim to what? To speak out. It doesn't matter what status you are. You know, wherever you are, you know, if you see something wrong and you see munkar, you speak out about it and you give the person advice. It doesn't, again, doesn't mean you have to be aggressive and, you know, bash people's heads in. But you have to give advice. You have to give advice. And that's what he said. فُرِضَ الطَّاعَ وَالنَّصِيحَةِ, where there's an obligation of obedience and giving nasiha. If he sees him doing something wrong, he has to advise him. And also the person who's being advised, if you're being advised from a person that you deem is below you, no, you have to humble yourself. Because this is a deen of humility. This is a deen of submission to the truth. It's not a deen of arrogance and ignorance and takabbur and pride and all this type of stuff. Even if a person that you deem is way less knowledgeable than you, but he comes up and advises you, and you know that, okay, he's speaking the truth, you accept the advice. You know, you accept the advice and you keep yourself humble. You know, it doesn't matter who gives that advice. I mean, look at the issue of, you know, the truth. No matter who gives it, we accept the truth, right? Look at the hadith of Abu Hurairah and the person that was stealing from the sadaqah. You know, and then one night he captured him, then he let him go, then he captured him, and then he let him go, and then on the third night he said, no, that's it, I'm taking you to the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And then what did he say? He said, you know, okay, look, I'll teach you something you can recite before you go to bed to protect you from the shaitan. And what did he teach him? Taught him Ayat al-Kursi. And when he went back to the Prophet ﷺ and told him about the situation, he said, Sadaqat wa huwa kadhub. He said, he told you the truth, but he's a pathological liar, like he's a complete liar. And he said, you know, and he asked him, he said, do you know who you've been talking to these nights? And he said, it's shaitan. Now obviously it's not Iblis, shaitan, but it's shaitan from the shayateen. Alright, so he said, you know, but here he said, Sadaqat wa huwa kadhub. He told you the truth, but he's a liar. He's a huge liar. So I mean, the truth, we accept the truth no matter where it comes from. It's the truth is the truth. And you know, so subhanAllah, could you imagine, like, you know, you might do something wrong, and maybe a child comes up to you who just happens to notice something that you did wrong. You're like, man, shut up, you're just a child. You don't know what you're talking about. Is that going to be the Islamic behavior? Is that the Islamic character? No, I mean, you know, this deen is a deen of nasiha. The deen is giving advice. You know, so we have to listen. We have to listen no matter what the case may be. 205 حدثنا موسى قال حدثنا عبد الواحد قال حدثنا أبو بردة ابن عبد الله ابن أبي بردة قال سمعت أبو بردة يحدث عن أبيه رضي الله عنه قال رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم المملوك له أجران إذا أدى حق الله في عبادته أو قال في حسن عبادته وحق مليكه الذي يملكه. And this is the same as one went before. So he said, the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said that the slave he has two rewards. Either adda haqq Allah fi ibadati, if he carries out the rights that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has over him, because that's the most important thing. The very important thing is that the person fulfills the rights of Allah first before he fulfills the rights of the people. The rights of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala come first. And he said, I'll call it fi husna ibadati, or in the best of his worship, you know, perfecting his worship. وَحَقَّ مَلِيكِهِ الَّذِي يَمْلِكُهُ, and for the one who possesses him, he carries out his rights after that. But first he has to carry out the rights of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That's what we constantly talk about, that the rights of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, they take precedence over everything. You know, we don't put the rights of the people before the rights of Allah. Your book's are already falling apart. You're going to have to go on Amazon and get some of that glue, like the book binding glue, and just glue the binding back together. Yeah, inshallah. Any questions?
Questioner says, is saying Sayyida Aisha Yajuz?
That's not from the Sunnah. That's not, the people didn't do that before. This is something that came about from people later on.
Egyptian.
Huh?
Egyptian.
Egyptians and Hanafis. Yeah.
خلص سيارة
تفضل.
لا
ها؟
كنت خلص سيارته على الفطار
What happened?
وانا ترك سيارته مفتوحة ومش خلص سيارته والله
kids
لا
went into his car.
سامع عبد الله.
Hey, Abdullah, they went inside your car. Hussein and Obama.
قلت لك سيارة مفتوحة ومتمسك كل فيه.
Oh, yeah. What was the question? Lots of men.
Never leaving.
We're going to call child services on you, Abdullah. Kids in the car.
But it's Abdul Malik is the child service. That's the question we said. Well, the second question, Amir al-Muslimin, alhamdulillah, Rabbil Alameen, says, what does it mean for one to be mutsahil?
Let me say, they take the affairs too easy. Yahya khudh al-kitaba biquwwa. You know, when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala commanded Yahya to take the book with biquwwa, not to take it with raqqa, softness and lean and no, man, we take this deen seriously, and the people that are mutasahil, they water things down and they don't take this deen seriously. You know, they make exceptions, like too many exceptions. You know, like we talked about before. Oh, you know, music's haram, but what if the singer's a Muslim? Oh, we need to support our Muslim musicians or some foolishness like this. You know, this is tasahul with the girls. You know, where they free mix and they do all this type of thing. You know, and then they open up all these abwab al-fitna, you know, these doors of fitna. You know, this is the type of tasahul. You know, I remember one time when the brother that claimed to be from Ahl Sunnah, and I went to him in Emirates, and we were like, because, you know, at that time, we were trying to get to Saudi Arabia, and the easiest way to get to Saudi Arabia, you had to go take a CELTA course. So CELTA is for teachers, for English teachers. It's from that not Oxford. What's the other Cambridge University in Britain? So we went to Emirates, me and this brother, to go do this, and then after the course was finished, they had this little get together, and I'm trying to leave, right? And then I'm leaving because I don't want to be a part of this garbage anyways. And then one of the ladies that was working at, she was studying in the course. She goes up to the brother and shakes his hand. And he shook his hand, and I looked at him, I said, "Ya akhi, what are you doing?" He said, "What? No, it's normal. We gotta fit in. You know, this is the type of tasahul." And then even like later on, when I gave him the hadith, and I told him and I explained to him, this issue and how haram it is, he still just like it didn't bother. Like this type of thing is like all these types of doors of fitna. As a Muslim, we close these doors and we keep them shut and we keep them locked. But these people that are like, ashab al-tasahul, they like to open those doors, and they like to, like the brother with his car, keep the doors unlocked so the kids can just run in and out, all the fitna can come in and out, You locked it up.
They said that I left my front door open.
Sure, that's what they're gonna say. One time, when we were in Salat, my alarm started going off right at the end of the Salat, and go to find out, he went and jumped in the car. I guess I left my front door open too. No, this is a habit. It's a bad habit. It's a very, very bad habit.
Speaking about marriage meetings, questioner named NK says, I may have a marriage meeting in 2 months. What questions should a woman ask in the meeting?
What questions should a woman ask? Whatever she needs to ask. It's gonna make her whatever she needs to ask before, to make sure that this is the man that she wants to marry, and the man the same. You shouldn't be shy about these types of questions. I mean, obviously you don't want to be vulgar either, going into detail and stuff like that, but you need to ask the questions that are going to provide you. Give me some of that.
My bad.
But it's good though. I mean, because it.
I'll take it.
Oh, good. This is.
You talking about that or the water?
No, I'm saying the water is good.
Oh, okay.
Because I'm saying it hasn't been hot these days.
Remember that?
Of course. What up?
The same questioner says, is it permissible for a woman to wear her glasses in the marriage meeting, but her glasses are a form of adornment? But during the meeting, she'll take it off so he can
Her
see.
glasses, like reading glasses or what? Or actual eyeglasses, not like sunglasses or something like that.
I don't know. This is she'll take it off so he can see how she looks.
Yeah, I mean, you know, that's what he requests. And take the glasses off, she takes the glasses off. If he wants to see what she looks like without the glasses. Because believe it or not, it's kind of crazy, right? Some women is like, they got glasses on, they're like, man, she's beautiful, take the glasses off, put them glasses back on. You know? And unfortunately, some women are like that with the niqab. You know, with the niqab, she's beautiful. She takes the niqab off, and it's like, put that thing back on. You know, and don't ever take it back off until the day of judgment. You know, there's a story about that from Jahiliyyah. Did I tell y'all that story? Huh? I can't remember the exact wording of it. It's a mithal it's from the Mujma' al-Amthal, so you could go find it in the Mujma' al-Amthal. But basically, a man, he had his family's donkey. And he went he was out and about in the desert, and he got tired, and he went to go sleep underneath a tree. And he fell asleep. And when he woke up, the donkey was gone. So he's like, oh my God, you know, I just lost my family's donkey. This is huge. So he goes out to go find his family's donkey. And as he's looking for the family's donkey, there's a well, and there's this woman. She's covered, but she has like the most beautiful eyes, right? So he sees her pulling the water out of the well, and he forgot his family's donkey, and he started, you know, talking to the girl. So he convinced her to uncover herself so he could see what she looks like. Because keep in mind, this is from Jahiliyyah. These are the Amthal. These Amthal, they come from, you know, pre-Islam. You know, these are from the poetry and things like this. You know, so he convinced her to take off the covering that she had around her face. And then as soon as she did that, he said the method. He said, you know, ذكرني فوقي بفقد حمار أهلي. He said, ذكرني فوقي, like your mouth, it reminds me of my family, that I lost my family's donkey. You know, because her mouth was so messed up that it reminded him of the what? His family so he went back out to go look for the donkey and left the girl. You know, but. You know, so that's the case now. Like things like that, the person has to see that. He has to see her face, see her eyes, things like that. I said, as far as like we talked about the issue of the hair, and again, all of that's going to go back anyways to what? To the wali, what he allows, if that's what he allows. You know, if the wali does not allow the man to see the woman like with her hair and things like that, then the man takes his mother, his sister, and then has the mother or the sister sit with her, and she uncovers her hair. You know, because if the girl has her whole entire life never taken her hijab off for another man, it's not her mahram. And then, you know, and she's too shy to do that, then you're gonna have to respect that. You're gonna have to respect that. And you can't sit there and force that again. You know, al-mar'a khuliqat min al-dhula'. Or, you know, and what the Prophet ﷺ said that the woman was created by what? From the rib. And then he said, وَإِنَّ أَعْوَجِ مَا فِي الضُّلَعِ أَعْلَاهُ. And the most crooked of all the ribs is the highest rib, which she was created from. And then he said, you know, and the hafta taqīmaha what? قَصَرَتَهَا. You know, if you try to like forcefully straighten her out, you break her. And then, you know, in another narration, كَسَرَهَا طَلَاقَهَا. That the breaking of her is like you end up divorcing her, because you're not going to be able to do it. وَإِن تَرَكْتَهَا عَلَى عِوَجٍ. Or, you know, or in another narration he said, اسْتَمْتَعْتَ بِهَا عَلَى عِوَجٍ. And if you leave her, then you leave her crooked. So you have to be very, very, you know, wise in your dealings with the woman. If that's the type of thing that she doesn't want to do that, then you don't, khalas, you're going to have to respect that decision. Take your mother, your sister, and having them sit with the girl. She won't have any issues with her taking her hair out for another woman, and then they can describe that to you. You know, so like I said, in a lot of Muslim countries, especially like Yemen, and you might not, if you marry from the village, you're not gonna see the girl at all. If you don't have a mother or sister, the mother and the sister, they go sit with the girl, they go back and describe the girl to the man, and that's it. He's gonna marry her based off of that. You're not gonna see the girl at all. So and that's a lot of the marriages, and most of the marriages, especially in the north of Yemen, where the tribes are. That's how they do that. So yeah, any other questions?
Yes.
As far as the eyes and the face and all that, no, you should be able to see that. The hands, the wrists, the ankle bones, there should be no issue with the man seeing that.
Striving Slave says, at the age of 10, kids can be disciplined for not praying. What are the limitations of discipline? No hitting face, etc. ?
Yeah, you're trying to get the kid to act right. You're not trying to put him in the hospital. You know, and disciplining doesn't mean that you go and beat him. You know, and beat him like he owes you money or like he insulted your mother. I mean, the whole point is to get him back in place. And disciplining doesn't necessarily have to be hitting the kid, taking things away from him, taking privilege. You're the father. You have like everything you could take away from him. 10 years old, what is he gonna do? Say no? You know, you take away things, take away the privileges that he has, he'll start praying really, really fast. When he's got to sit there and stare at a wall all day long. Kids nowadays, they can't take that.
Striving Slave says, could you define discipline for the right hand possession?
Discipline for the right hand possession.
I think we wrote in the hadith.
To make sure that she acts right. Because like I said, a lot of the women that were taken, they were taken in war. And the woman, she might not have been from an Islamic upbringing, Islamic culture. So you have to make sure, teach her the appropriate way to act. Because like, you imagine like you take, let's say that, just for example, right? You're at war with America, right? And you get right-hand possessions from America. All right, some of these girls from college, right? No, what I'm saying, like, look now, you got these right-hand possessions. Akhi, there is nothing Islamic in their behavior. So now that you've taken her as a right-hand possession, she's going to be raising your children. She's going to be responsible for your house. There's going to be so much going on. She needs to be taught. She needs to be, how can you say, like,
Tell them keep her.
huh?
Tell them keep her.
Trust me, I doubt you would say that.
No, we would, because
No, you would.
Madarra is really hard. I would.
Yeah,
I could
you
control
would.
myself.
Huh?
I could control myself.
Yeah, I guess you control yourself better than the Sahaba. They're going to take them. So,
I go to school with them.
huh?
I go to school with them.
And they grew up with them in Jahiliyyah.
I mean,
And they still take them when it comes to war. Come on, man.
I mean, I have.
Because the whole
refused in
point,
past
the
too.
whole point is to increase the children. That's the whole point. So
No.
that's why us having like 2 or 3 children and them having 50 and 60 children, big difference.
I'm talking about them because you get ended with STDs and all sorts of bad stuff.
Get her tested before you take her.
That's too much.
But the point is like, she's not going to have that type of Islamic character, So you have to educate her. You got to teach her. You got to work with her, until she starts to take that type of behavior on. And then when you see now that she's becoming better and better, she accepts Islam, you free her, you marry her, whatever. Khalas, alhamdulillah. But obviously that's if you don't already have 4 wives already. But
Hamid says, is it good to pay to learn hadith? I've heard mixed views.
is it good to pay?
To pay someone to learn hadith.
And nobody should ever accept money for teaching hadith. So if you have to pay, then you pay. And that's the only way that you can learn. But the person that's charging should fear Allah.
Yo, come on, man.
That's the last warning. Next one, you're out. You go sit with the women. All right, so Bulugh Maram, inshallah. قال الحافظ ابن حجر رحمه الله تعالى. So now we're on hadith number 1049 in our book. You don't have your book? Is this it? No, that's not your book. Yours is the green, right? Alright, so basically he went over all the issues about the walima. And now he's going to go over some of the manners of eating. Because obviously you're going to be at a walima, you're going to be eating. You know, you should always maintain the proper manners of the sunnah, proper character, even during these celebrations. And that's why he's going to like just give like a little brief, you know, I guess you could say overview of all the manners that a person should have when he's eating in front of, you know, eating with people. So hadith number 1049 on Abi Juhayfa radiyallahu anhu قال قال رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم لا آكل متكئا رواه البخاري. So this is Abu Juhayfa. He reported that the Messenger of Allah صلى الله عليه وسلم said لا آكل. Why is it آكل?
Yo, he said that was in verse 1.
What happened?
He spoke to Abdullah.
Man, y'all went in his car, man. Y'all went in his car. Y'all went in his car.
What?
You went in his car.
No.
You told me earlier.
Well, hold on. You said what?
We closed the door. The door was open.
You told me that there was a cat inside.
So there was a cat inside. You closed the door. So you're telling me that he pulled up and just left his door open.
No.
So his door was closed.
Probably Hussein was in it.
Probably Hussein was in it
Also in.
with the cat.
What color was the cat?
Obama, get up and leave and come back when you can tell the truth. Go.
The door was
Go.
open.
Come back when you can tell the truth. And one thing we're not going to sit here and tolerate is liars up in here. You want to sit here, you tell the truth. There was a cat in the car. Hussein was in the car. The door was open. That's 3 stories in 20 seconds, Akhi. Yeah, come on, man. And if you are going to be a liar, at least become a better one. So, la akul because of the word is akala. And obviously when you say ana, you don't say akul, that's too difficult, right? So what do? You put a med on it, akul. Alright, la akulu muttaki'an. Muttaki'an, it means what? So he's saying, I don't eat muttaki'an. He doesn't eat like this. And why is that? It shows arrogance. This is the way that the kings and the jababira, the rich and the people, that's how they used to eat. Because the people would feed them and they would sit there and they would eat muttaki'an. And so the Prophet ﷺ, when he ate like a servant. He sat down on the ground with the people and he ate. So he wouldn't eat like the kings and all these types of rich folks. I was wondering where he was going. I thought he was going to go see if Obama was doing okay. Alright, the next hadith. So and that's regardless. That's not just for walima. That's any time. It shows that the karahiyah, that it's disliked to eat when a person is muttaki. Now, what if the person has some type of ailment, maybe a back problem or something like that, which he has to, eat like this? Is that okay?
So you can leave it alone.
Yeah. It's no issue as long as the person's not doing it for that purpose, Now the Prophet ﷺ never ate like this, so we don't eat like this. But if there's some type of ailment that you have no choice, you have to sit like this to eat, then that's khalas.
Sitting at the chair or what?
No.
Wouldn't this also be considered sitting like this or?
No, to lean.
Okay, just leaning. Okay. Thought it was also.
To lean on something.
What would you call this then?
That's like, it's almost like lying down. That's probably worse.
So like leaning, like sitting with your back up against the wall.
No, that's fine. But like here, like, if you're like this, and you're eating, like this, so you didn't need to eat like this. Like I said, if the person has an issue, some type of ailment, then there's no problem. Alright, hadith number 1050. وعن عمر بن أبي سلمة رضي الله عنه قال لي رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم يا غلام سم الله وكل بيمينك وكل مما يليك متفق عليه. And of course the hadith is, all of these hadith are much longer. He's just giving you the portion of the hadith to show you, because that's the whole point of this book, is this ikhtisar, is to keep it brief. So he's just giving that part of the hadith that you need for that issue. So he said, so the Prophet, the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, Ya ghulam. And this is because the boy, he was, his hand was all over the place. Like he was taken from here, taken from there. So this was when the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam saw this, because he was eating with the people and his hand was doing this. This is goes to show you the teaching of the Messenger, where he taught him at this time. And that's why he said, Ya ghulam. He said, oh young boy, Sammillah. What? You know this hadith from your mother, huh? Huh? What? Yeah. No, but this is like their mother used to say this to them all the time, this hadith. But Sammillah, like, right, name Allah, like say the name of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala before you eat. Say Bismillah. Alright, Kul bi yaminik, and eat with your right hand. Wa kul mimma yalik, and eat with what is closest to you. Don't go all over the plate and eat all over the plate. Now, we have an issue because the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam with the dubbat, he used to do this. And he yatatabba'ahu fi sahad. So, what is this a contradiction?
With the what?
With the pumpkin. When they used to cook the pumpkin and they put it in he would go and he would follow it around the plate. So is this a contradiction or no?
There is no contradiction.
So what's his jama? Out. I wish the people could see this, what we see. I wish, he's coming. I thought it was a cat at first. Wallahi, I thought it was a cat coming in. And then I looked, I was like, that's him sneaking in. Alright, if it's one type of food, right? Let's say like it's chicken and rice. You have chicken here, chicken here, chicken here, chicken. Eat from what's closest to you. But what if like there's different types of food and they're on different parts of the plate? Then you eat from this part of the food, but you want some of that. Then in that time it's what? It's permissible to eat from different parts because it's different foods mixed around. And in this case, the pumpkin was in different areas. It wasn't in front of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, so he had to go around the plate to get where he wanted to eat the pumpkin. That was like something that was one of his favorite foods. So if that's the case, like for example, all the meat is on that side of the plate, and you have only rice over here and no meat. So what are you going to do? Just eat the rice? Oh, you go over there and you grab some of the meat, because you don't have the meat on your side. That's not what it's like in this hadith, because all the food was the same. Because the Arabs, the way that they used to eat from one or two types of foods. They didn't not like us where we eat from all this big, huge mixture buffet of type foods. I believe, if I'm not mistaken, it was an Athar of Ibn Abbas, where they came and they brought him a whole. It could have been Ibn Abbas. If it's not Ibn Abbas, it's Ibn Umar, but I'm almost sure it's Ibn Abbas. Where they brought him like a plate, because this was after the Futuhat of Sham. Once they opened up Sham, and they brought him this plate of all these bukulat and all these vegetables and all this stuff and all these different colors. And the Ibn Abbas said, take this away from me. قال يا قوم نحن قوم العرب نحن نأكل من لون ولونين. That's it.
See him through the glass, looking at his brother going shh, and then start tapping.
I know. Because he's going to keep on doing this, and nobody's going to stop him. That's the problem. And this goes back to that whole issue of discipline, And then now he's going to grow up without that type of discipline. What do you think he's going to be when he is 15, 16 years old and just doing whatever he wants? So, Allah Musta'an.
It's the wrong person, he's going to have a rude awakening.
Yeah, that's what happens. That's what happens every single day. People get killed every single day for that. Because they do it to the wrong person, So, what was I saying? Oh yeah, the loan and the loan. Yeah, so when Ibn Abbas, when they brought it to him, tell him get out here. He's not. That's it. Khalas, he can't come up here anymore. Enzil. So he said, when they brought him all these vegetables, he told him, he said, take this back. I don't, he said, bring me. He said, what? He said, we're a people of the Arabs. He said, we only eat from one or two colors. That means we only eat one or two types of food. We don't eat.
I'm gonna keep my phone right here for the Wi-Fi. I'll let you know.
And so he said, we don't eat all this, all these different types, because they used to have bread and idam, khubz, lahm, so there was always just two things, one or two things, asida, with maraq, so, and that's what he told him. He said, bring me, and bring me these types of foods. If I'm not mistaken, he might have told him, bring me asida, bring me 30, these types of foods of the Arabs, Huh?
I haven't had alseed in about maybe in 9 months. Actually, maybe almost a year I haven't had alseed. Yemeni dish.
No, it's an Arab dish.
You'd be surprised because when I ask Falastinis and
No,
Saudis
no,
and
no,
I ask
they-
them, I say, do you know, I said, do you eat alseed? They say, what's alseed?
All the Arabs, they used to eat that in the time of the Prophet.
Yeah, that's it. I'm just saying like,
That's an Arab dish. Huh?
Hussein. Hussein.
Hey, I gotta get it for myself
Sorry,
first.
different
'Cause I didn't even.
Huh?
Hussein نضيف على هذا.
I'll see that like in Yemen, they take it's a white corn, white corn. It's called sorghum in English. It's called dorat bayda. It's got like it's not white, but it's like a tannish white. It's got like a black spot right at the top, like a little black eye on the top. So they crush that up, and then they make flour out of it. And they mix that, they put like a lot of that into a pot with a little bit of, like, enough water to make it like, not where it's like gonna be like oatmeal. It's gonna be much thicker than that, So what happens is you gotta keep stirring it and stirring it. As you heat it up, it starts to get thicker and thicker and thicker. You add water, and you gotta keep adding a little bit of water, a little bit of water, a little bit of water until it completely expands. And so it's like real thick. Like a real thick porridge. And you line you take like a big plate or a bowl, like a big bowl, you line it with that, you leave that little center open, you put like a maraq of lahm dajaj or whatever it is, like the broth, you put that in the middle and you eat it. Just eat it with your finger, you scoop it out and dip it. Inshallah, I have to make that one. Your family won't make that, man? You bring that one day?
No, it's because when they do, because I'm never home. I don't eat, I don't eat.
Man, I'm telling you, I guarantee you, if you go home one day on your day off, right? When's your day off?
San Diego.
No, I'm saying when you come back, inshallah. Thursday.
Sunday. Yeah, because I have my day off on Friday. Because Thursday I work.
When is your day off from now on?
From now on, I think it's always Thursdays, but just exclusively, I spoke to the boss. I'm taking Friday, Saturday, Sunday off.
You said the boss. Actually, I'm not talking about right now. When is your day off?
I don't know.
All right, let's just say Thursday.
Thursday.
I guarantee you go home to your mother and you tell her, hey, the brothers in the class, they want to try al-Sida, but you need to tell her the day before. You can't go home and tell her that day so she can prepare it. Because she's got to prepare the mother, she's got to prepare sahawat, hulba, whatever else she's got to, well, I don't think, you don't need hulba for that, it's not, it's sulta or fasa.
I don't need it.
Yeah, your hulba with al-Sida.
As a kid, I was growing up.
And that takes hours to prepare, because you got to,
No, my sisters, they do it. And it
no,
tastes good.
it's impossible.
They do it.
You put the hulba in water, it's got to sit in the water for like an hour or two.
Or maybe I just.
Then
see
you
it
pour
with-
the water out, then you got to whip it up, and then mix it with other things, mix it with like spices and stuff.
I always see when they finish it.
Yeah, you don't see the whole process. So, it's at least 2-3 hours just to like let it sit so it thickens up in the water. And you'll see the water sits on the top and the hulba's on the bottom. You have to pour that water off from the top. And then you just got to sit there and just whip it with your hand. Which probably now in America, they probably don't do that. They probably put it like in, something like that. But that's not how they do it in Yemen. Like in Yemen, they gotta, like everything they gotta do it with like by hand. Even the sahawak in the village, they don't use a blender. Like here, they're just gonna put everything in a blender and here's sahawak. No, they're gonna.
I sent the boss so I could just hide his name. That's what. Other than that, I don't call him that. I don't call him that to his face.
Yeah.
I call him Ammu.
But just go home, like, call your mother, let her know, hey, the students, they want to try Al-Sida. They've never had Al-Sida before. Man, you think your mother's not going to make that?
You never had Al-Sida?
He's had it.
Oh, he
They
did.
have.
You never had Al-Sida? You?
He's had Al-Sida, and even in Saudi Arabia, he had Al-Sida. Yeah, but they don't know. They don't even know what it is.
You're serious?
Yeah,
Do it, man. Go home and you can get the dhurra from Papaya Fresh. They sell it. Don't do the burr, because these Yemenis in America, they want to make it with wheat, man. That's that garbage stuff, man. Nobody makes it in their house with wheat. The wheat is like the cheap restaurants make it like that. You know, they make it with dhurra. The dhurra, the bayda. That's how you make Al-Sida. That's the asli. All this other stuff is, we don't want McDonald's, man. We want the real Al-Sida. You can get it from Papaya. I have some at home. Like remind me. See, I can't make it. Because I can't do it the way that they do it. It's too much work, man.
YouTube.
Huh?
YouTube.
Yeah, all I do is I'm going to cook the chicken with Jamaican curry and, you know, whatever, and just make the Al-Sida, and pour the chicken on it, and we're going to eat it. That's it. But if the way that they do it with the sahawik, with the hulba, yeah, you got to eat it with them, man. Get it correctly. All right. So after that, hadith number 1051, and this is the last hadith, inshallah. He said, وعن ابن عباس رضي الله عنهما أن النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم أتى بقصعة من ثريد, another food of the Arabs. فقال كلوا من جوانبها ولا تأكلوا من وسطها فإن البركة تنزل في وسطها. رواه الأربع وهذا لفظ النسائي وسنده صحيح. And this is Sahih. So Ibn Abbas, he reported that the Prophet ﷺ atā bi qas'a. We spoke about the word qas'a before. What is it? It's a big plate. It's enough to feed like about, like 6 to 8 people. So it's a big plate, or more than 6 to 8. Look it up.
Yemenis of today, when they say qas'a, they mean like a cup of water, or like a cup or a bottle. They don't mean.
No, it's a huge plate.
They say sahna today.
Sahn is a small plate that feeds 1 or 2 people.
No, like they use it for both. So,
No,
like,
qas'a is look at it.
I was thinking the Yemenis.
Now, in fact, you stay on the comments, and you can. I'll look it up, and you find questions, because that way we can take 1 or 2 and leave, inshallah. Look for any important things.
I see. That was very bad, but yes.
It looks like the Mexican flan.
Hmm?
You know flan?
What's that?
So it is a Mexican dish, dessert. Well, they made it in Yemen. It was called creamy caramel. It tastes good. Creamy caramel. I had it in مطعم الأحمر in Sana'a.
You hear this? They make a dish in Yemen. It's called creamy caramel.
It's a dessert. It's a dessert. It is nice. I'm not gonna
Creamy caramel. That's the name of the Jello box. It's called cremat. It's written in like French in Yemen. Crema caramel or whatever.
Yeah, bro.
Huh?
Yeah, I didn't know it.
It's just, they sell it. You can buy it here. You know
I
that.
know somebody sells
It's
it.
just Jello out here.
It tastes nice. But it tastes nice if you eat it like once every 9 months. Not like once every day. You ready for questions?
No. It just says Kabir. But from what I understand and like what I remember, it's like it's enough like to feed. I think it's about like 8 to 10 people. 8 to 10 people can eat from that. Where did you get that from?
Oh, I have to say for
That's from Jarir.
this one?
Where is it from?
The book or the bookmark?
Let me see it.
You want the book or the bookmark?
No, the bookmark.
I've had this, like, I got this, like, 3rd grade.
Yeah, I know. I had the same one in the.
I got 99 problems with a book.
Yeah, I had the same one in Saudi Arabia. The exact same thing.
You
with
know
the
where that's
roof.
from?
They sold this in Jarir, you know, the bookshop in Saudi. Yeah, I had this. That's why when I looked at that, I was like, wait, that looks familiar, man.
Do you know that?
Man, leave all that jahiliyyah out of here, man.
Said I got nine.
Yeah.
Doesn't mean
I had the exact same one.
You know,
sir.
right?
Huh?
You know what it means.
Oh. No. We're reading it. We'll finish the hadith and then we'll take the question. So he said, Adab qasa min tharid. Tharid is what? Nobody. Tharid is like, they take like khubz al-sha'ir and they put that on the plate and they take the meat and all that and they dump it on top of that and then you eat it. The only people that I know that kind of do something like that right now is the people of Ethiopia. When they're doing their food, what they'll do is they'll put the luhuh, which I think they call it anjero, and in Somali it's anjero, right? But the Ethiopians, I don't know if they call it anjero or they have another name for it. But they put the luhuh on the bottom, and then they put like the different foods on top of that, and then you just eat. That's probably the closest of what you can see today.
Somebody wants food.
Somebody what? Somebody wants food? So feed them. We ain't got no food here, with So tharid is like that. So they put the bread on the bottom of the khubz al-sha'ir, which is it's like a thick oat bread. No. من هو؟ كافر. There was only vegetables left over. I think all the vegetables, they all went bad. Huh? No. There's nothing, I'm telling you. The only thing that was left over from the food drive was the vegetables. And the vegetables, khalas, they're finished. Anything that's put in that kitchen is for the people, it's for us, it's for the Muslims. You know, whatever's left out, you know, like that, that's for the kuffar, you know. So, but all that stuff, it went bad. Alright. So he said, you know, so that's a tharid. Tharid is like the most famous dish amongst the Arabs. You know, so like it's just all the meat. You put the meat on top of the bread and you eat it. فَقَالَ كُلُوا مِنْ جَوَانِبِهَا. And then the Prophet ﷺ commanded the people to eat from the sides. Eat from the sides, but don't eat from what? From the middle. Alright, don't eat from the middle. وَلَا تَأْكُلُوا مِنْ وَسَطِهَا. Don't eat from the middle. فَإِنَّ الْبَرَكَةَ تَنْزِلُ فِي وَسَطِهَا. Because the blessing, the barakah, it goes into the food from what? From the middle. So you eat from the jawanib, so you keep the barakah in the food, and then you eat the middle at the end. You eat the middle at the end. Unfortunately, the Arabs now today, they still do this. They still practice this hadith. But the only problem is that they eat from the sides and they never eat the middle. They get full because they put so much food on the plate that they eat from the sides, and then there's like 10 kilos of rice stuck in the middle that never gets eaten. I don't know. No, I mean, tell them you gotta come here on time. There's no. No, the food drive is certain time. He's gotta come during the day, 3 o'clock in the afternoon. He doesn't come at 9 o'clock at night talking about where's the food at.
He's just gonna tell more people to come. He's just gonna tell others, and others are gonna tell others, and others are gonna tell others. And you know, you have like 10 people a week.
So that hadith, Rawahu al-Arba', so that means all of the people of the Kutub al-Sitta, the 6 books of hadith, except for Bukhari and Muslim. And the hadith is authentic. So we eat from the sides, we don't eat from the middle of the plate, because that's where the barakah comes down. Any questions? 1 or 2 and we're leaving.
Min al-Muslimin, alhamdulillah, Rabbil Alameen says, why is it that some imams of masajid in America don't speak about certain issues, though they seem nice?
Are you telling me that there's only questions from this one person?
No, I mean, there's others. You said shay and shay.
Yeah, try to get other people, though.
You said in order, right? You said in order.
I'll try to, like, scroll down and get a question from Hamid, get a question from MA,
Because the last
get a
one was
question
so
from,
funny.
you know what I'm saying, you know.
That was going on.
I'm gonna sit there, you know, and then if time runs out, and then we'll just go sit here and just take all the questions for one person. Well, what was the question anyways? You already asked it.
Why is it that some imams of masajid in America don't speak about certain issues, though they seem nice?
I don't know. You got to ask them. Like, they seem nice. Or the imam seems nice, or the topic seems nice?
No, the imams.
They seem nice. What are they not talking about? There's certain topics that they're not going to talk about because they're not allowed to talk about them because they're going to lose their job. That's why. So, I mean, that would probably be the answer to the question. Oh, no, like anything that's going to be against the board of directors that's paying them their salary. You know, so he's just going to have to keep his mouth shut with a lot of things and, you know, go along to get along, or whatever that saying is. The majority of the board of directors in America, of masajid throughout America, the majority, I would say the vast majority of masjids, except for like the real few, they're run by people who don't pray in the masjid, don't care about this deen, they're not concerned about the deen, and they're doctors, they're chiropractors, they're lawyers, they're all these different types of professions. They you know, even in Jacksonville, they open up an Islamic school, and the children of the board of directors don't even go to the Islamic school. They go to these big private schools, you know, so their kids can, you know, be some big professional person, you know, and get into a big college. They don't go to the Islamic school because they know the Islamic school, they can't get into a good college going to the Islamic school. They know this. So they don't even send their kids to the Islamic school. Nor do their kids pray in the masjid. Nor do they pray in the masjid except for when it's time for money, when they need money or something. So that's just the reality. So when you get an imam who's trying to teach the people, then he gets a leash put on him by these types of individuals that they don't care about the deen. They don't care about the deen. So he can't speak about a lot of topics because of that. He'll speak out and they'll say, oh, no, brother. We can't talk about that. We can't talk about that. Don't do that again. What do you think if he gets up and talks about it again? What do you think is going to happen to him?
Never speak again.
Well, you know, it depends on how much he's loved in that community. But they might, you know, end up deducting his salary or something like that and say, I told you not to talk about it. So this is the type of thing, man. This is what goes on in America, and this is sad reality. But,
Two things. Abdul Malik said they are not faqih.
That's the answer to end all answers for us.
No, but the questioner apologizes, and I apologize. I asked multiple questions.
No, that's not a problem. If we got, the problem is not, people can ask as many questions as they like, but the person reading the questions needs to be fair, reading other people's questions and not specifying one specific person for reasons unknown. Otherwise, we're going to have to fire the questioner and give the phone to Ibrahim
I'll get hired next
or
week.
Abdullah or somebody else. And
I'll sign a petition.
Come with the board of signatures.
Wait, the NK questioner says, talking about the flan, I mentioned there was a Mexican thing. They said not jello. Flour and cornstarch is used to thicken it and eggs. But
you talking about the creamy caramel thing?
yeah. You know the brother Alex, he's Mexican and he doesn't eat flan. I said, you don't eat flan? 2 days later I see him with 4 flans. After I said, what happened? He said, yeah, you put me on ever since you came here.
I don't know what that is. I know just the stuff that they make in Yemen is just
I think like $3 off the show.
it's jello.
And the bottom is this caramel, quote unquote.
It's custard, Akhi. That's all the stuff that they make in Yemen and Ramadan is custard. But they just put different things. They might put a little Yemeni flavor onto it, but
They are not faqih.
yeah.
Is that it?
Said it's Wednesday. They're going to come from food. Yeah. And Abdul Malik said if they come asking for food, tell them there's nothing left. But like I said, anything in the kitchen is not for. That's for the Muslims. Whatever's left over, we make an announcement on Friday. And whoever wants to, that's for the brothers, whoever wants food. So, I mean, and that's the way it is. I mean, the priority should be the poor Muslims. And then we'll deal with the poor kuffar. They're our neighbors, they live in the same neighborhood, so, help them out. But the first and foremost is making sure that the poor Muslims enjoy themselves. No more questions?
Oh, there is. So you said one or two.
From different people. You only ask one question from one person.
I don't know the reason.
You ready to go, aren't you? Huh? I'm tired. You went to school today?
Yeah.
Ovus West. We are the best, right?
Wait, is that actually what they say?
No, I said that would be rather gay if they said that.
Well, I went
Which means they probably do say that.
I went to Hanford West. We didn't have to say that. MA says, while praying in the ranks, should you move to the right or left to connect the feet? Because brothers be moving in the rows, meaning after we come up from sujood, should you chase their feet or no?
You should move towards the middle. So if you're more towards the right side, you should go towards the left. I mean, look, man, I'm not playing footsies with people in Salat. You know what I'm saying? And that's why I avoid it. If I'm about to go into the saf and I look and I see it's like a Pakistani Hanafi guy, no disrespect to the Pakistani Hanafi guy, but I'm not praying next to you, homeboy. I leave. I'm like, where's the Egyptian dude at? I'm going to pray next to the Egyptian guy, because the Egyptian guy, bam, he's going to slam his foot next to yours. Bam, he's going to, but at least you feel comfort, that those gaps are closed, because all of that falafel and stuff that he ate, that's going to close those gaps, man, seriously. I don't know. I don't pray next to them if I can avoid it. Unless it's like absolutely necessary. Like if there's one person and he's the only person, that's Allah musta'an, that's a musibah. But if I come in and like there's like 5 people in a row, and I look and I see like one of these tablighi type guys at one end of the row, I'll go to the other side. If there's another tablighi guy, I'm like, oh no, man, try to squeeze in one of these. I would rather pray right here on the tile, pray next to a person that keeps the foot to foot than to pray next to these guys. I'm not playing footsies with people. I'm not sitting here like trying to chase after you. Nah, they're saying, what is this?
One of these Pakistani Hanafi guys, one time you were leading Maghrib prayer, and it was me, your son Mujahid, and the Pakistani. And it was me, the Pakistani was in the middle between us, and me and Mujahid, we're going to connect right away. In the second rak'ah, I could feel you go, and he put his feet so close together, so me and Mujahid, but we still connected. After the salah, he got up and left. He's never came back.
No, I'm good. People that don't want to practice the sunnah, khalas. Look, you got all the masajid doing all this funky business all day long. We at least need one masjid where the people can just come and practice the sunnah comfortably. And we don't need large numbers. We don't need none of that. We just need people who are going to do what they're supposed to do, and that's it. So they don't want to show up. That's on them. Who cares?
I was a medic. He said that they're gonna make me do a splits. Can I chase in the feet? But he wasn't in the chase. That it took me that one time.
There's not much you can do, man. I mean, especially if you got one on one side and the other on the other side. What I used to do, man, I used to put my foot as close to him, and then if he didn't put his foot, then what I would do is when we go into tashahhud, I would split my legs out and make him sit like this, like squeezing his knees together. I would try to sit as far out like a samurai sitting, just to make him feel as uncomfortable as possible for not following the sunnah. That was when I was younger though. I wouldn't do that now. Like I said, you just pray, focus on your salat, get what you got to do.
Sujood, do our arms have to touch one another? In sujood, our arms, do they have to touch one another?
Fill in the gaps.
Even in sujood,
I mean, if you're filling in the gaps properly, with the shoulder to shoulder, all those gaps are filled, then when you go down to sujood, you're going to be close you're gonna be like that, you know, so that's just gonna be the reality. If it's not, then obviously the gaps aren't filled and people are like trying to like, you know, maybe they're foot to foot, but everybody's got like their feet out to here. So the shoulders, like, you know, you see like there's this big gap between everybody's shoulder. Then yeah, when you go down, you notice like, you know, you can basically spread your arms out, you know, because the guy's so far away from you. Anything else?
Starving slave.
There's another one you forgot.
Yeah.
Spread out the questions.
Spread out the question.
M.A. Hamid, striving
Oh.
slave. Striving slave is another one. Yeah.
I lost it. When you mentioned building foundations first before teaching Sunnah, undoing previous Jahiliyyah, is it not effective to only do tafsir of whole Quran? Better to use books and discuss specific ayah. Some people say that I just need to read the Quran and don't need lessons for guidance.
Did I say before studying the Sunnah?
I already said.
The Sunnah is that tasfiyah, you know. And then that's how you're going to get all that stuff out, is by learning the Sunnah. You know, but all I'm saying is like before you go deep, what I was talking about when I said about the person asked about the tasfiyah with tarbiyah was in regards to the aqidah, that we don't focus on the aqidah of other people, the mistakes that they make. What's going on over there? You keep looking over there and laughing. Okay, I thought they were doing something stupid. So first you focus on the correct aqidah and you get all those erroneous ideas out first. Clean your heart full of all the, you know, all this, you know, foolishness before you start learning other people. These are the mistakes that the Jahmiyyah made. These are the mistakes that the Mu'tazila made. These are the mistakes that the Qadariyya made. These are the mistakes that the Rafidah made. Well, everything is a mistake with the Rafidah, you know, so, and the same thing with the Mu'tazila and everything. You know, they're all mistakes, basically. I don't think they show me something that they got right. But, so yeah, man. So, actually, no, I mean, there's people from the Mu'tazila as far as the language is concerned. Language. But even that, they twist it up so much, so you got to be careful. But like, you know, Zamakhshari is from the Mu'tazila. He wrote one of the best dictionaries in Balagha. It's called Asas al-Balagha, but he's just going over, but all he's doing is he's going over all the words that are used in the poetry and giving you how they're used in the poetry. So it has nothing to do with the deen, and that's an excellent book. But once they start talking about the deen, it's over. It's over. Yeah. Nothing good is going to come out of his mouth.
Oh, wow. Hamid Jamal says, does work, like the hadith about Adab al-Mufrad, does working fulfill that reward?
What's the reward? I mean, when you work, you have a contract with a person, right? And amongst the contract, you have certain obligations to fulfill your end of the contract. So inshallah, you know, you fulfill your end and you're doing it for the sake of Allah. You're doing it, you know, carrying out the contract. So you get a reward for that, inshallah, no doubt. No doubt. Anything that you do for Allah, and you do with, you know, obviously things that are halal, you know. Don't say, oh, I took a contract of interest and, you know, and I'm going to fulfill my obligations with this contract for the sake of Allah. No, that's stupid. You know, you're not going to get an extra for that. But we're talking about halal contracts. Halal contracts, and you carry out your obligations, you get rewarded for that, no doubt, if you're doing it for Allah. The last one.
NK says, here's a new person. Can a sister take a walk in her backyard without her hijab when it's at night? Walls are short, but it's dark.
No. Dude, they got cameras right now that can see in the dark. I don't know. If there's any chance that somebody can see her and like that, then she has to take a walk in the backyard, cover it up, khalas.
There's even been times where, like, I'm not, like, I would step out the house, and I just happen to look up, and wallahi, there's a drone with the camera.
And infrared, so they can pick up video at night, so don't believe all that stuff that you know, oh, it's dark outside. unless you live, like, I can understand, like, you live way out in the country where your next neighbor is like 10 miles down the road, you know, and you're going to go out in the cornfields where there's probably, you know, the only thing that's going to see you is like an owl, you know what I'm saying, or a coyote. Yeah, and then there's no issue. There's no issue, you know. A woman can go out there probably with her hair uncovered because there's no chance of anybody seeing it, you know. But you're talking about in the city, no, with the types of technology that they have now, ain't nothing. Yeah, no, you don't, you can't, you know, you can barely move around in your house without being seen. You know, imagine that. So long as time, like, no, I wouldn't advise that.
Alright, that was the last question.
All right, سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك اشهد ان ها.
بس عبد الملك يعني يقول النقاب يعني زي آية النقاب وشيء زي كده هو نزل يعني عند واحد من الصحابيات يعني شخص شافها في البار.
What's that?
He said, the medic says, niqab came down after the wife of the Prophet was seen at night.
Oh, that's a hijab. That's the partition. That's the hijab as far as separating the men from the women. And it was more than that incident. That was not the only incident. The actual incident was that they were like the wives, they used to eat together. It's in I put it in the book in Ikhtilaf. And when they were eating, one of the hands touched one of the women's hands, and Omar got angry about that. And then that's why he did that. And when Sauda went out, when she went out to go to the you know, relieve herself, Omar shouted out, yeah, so that called it Arafnaki. You know, he did that on purpose to make that, you know, to try to like get that ayat sent down because of what happened previously in the incident before that. So there's a lot of incidents that led up to that. But that's the separation between the men and the women. As far as the niqab, that goes back to the ayat of the jilbab. And the asbab, for the reason for that is because some of the believing women, they weren't covering their faces. And what happens is because the people couldn't differentiate between the slave girls and the believing women, so they would go up and they would bother the believing women. So all the believing women were commanded to completely cover, and the servant girls they don't cover. So that way the people can differentiate between the two. And that was why that was sent down. Allah knows best.